overthinking is a problem for everyone, and especially for people who have come from bad or toxic relationships, because it's those thoughts from the past which pop into the head and affect you today, and or it can be thoughts about things that could happen in the future, which all stem from the stuff that's happened in the past. So either way, the past is still affecting you in some way. Now, it's not so much the thoughts that are the problem, it's how the thoughts make you feel. Because ultimately it's the feelings that make us feel bad, right? If it's just the thought, then it's just the thought, like I need to go to the supermarket, or I have windows in my house. It doesn't necessarily elicit a good or bad feeling. But when you have a thought that has emotion attached to it and it makes you feel bad, then that thought becomes a problem. So there are a couple of ways you can change these thoughts. Number one, which is the best option, is to emotionally resolve all of the, to use a technical term, the crap from the past, right? Because if those thoughts are still popping in your head, it simply means that your brain at that unconscious or subconscious level has not resolved what it needed to resolve. And it's going to keep pestering you until it comes up with a resolution. Because once we resolve something at the emotional level, that can turn into knowledge and then wisdom, and we learn from that. But while it's still in the emotional stage of processing, we can't really learn from it. We just react instead. So, if we see a similarity to something that happened in the past and it makes us feel bad in some way, we will react with emotion because we are reacting from that subconscious or unconscious level. Whereas if something has been resolved and we feel neutral about that event, we have the cognitive ability to process and go, well, actually, that happened because of X, Y, and Z, and I can really see now I should have done this or I should have done that. So that's the difference. Now, so again, the best way to stop those thoughts that pester you is to essentially emotionally resolve the past events at the unconscious or subconscious level. That's the best way. Second way is to be able to actually manage the thoughts. And I'm going to show you a couple of techniques now to be able to take the power out of thoughts. And what I mean by this is, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, when we have a thought and it makes us feel bad or feel a certain way, that's the power I'm talking about. A thought like, I have windows in my house, it doesn't really do anything. But a thought like, I can never trust him, for someone coming from a bad relationship, that might make their stomach turn, or they might get a pressure in their chest or something along those lines. So that's the power I'm talking about. So the first thing to do is to notice what the actual thought is saying in your head. So let's use an example of I can't trust them. So what you do now is you notice whereabouts in your body, whereabouts in space, that thought is. So let's say, for example, when I think of that thought, and you can close your eyes if it's easier, but let's say I think of that thought, I can't trust them. And that thought happens to be in the middle of my head and it kind of sticks out sideways. And obviously you need to utilize your imagination or be able to visualize this stuff for it to work. So in this particular example, I can't trust them. That thought is right here in my head, right in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I imagine pulling that thought out of my head, and I can shrink it right down, and then I can throw it right out into the distance so that it's way over there. Then I just repeat that thought back with it over there, and I notice what's different. I can't trust them. Well, it feels more distant, obviously, right? But you notice how that makes you feel differently. Or perhaps you want to take, perhaps a thought is in your throat, and when, I can't trust them, and it makes it hard for you to talk because of what happened in your past. So I can't trust them. And you pull that thought out and you send it behind you so that it's just gone way out to the horizon. And again, you notice how you feel differently. So that's one way to do it. You can shrink it, you can change the font, you can change the color. Whatever you notice about that thought, just play around with it. But the key is to get distance. Get distance in any direction which feels comfortable to you. If it doesn't feel comfortable there, move it out there. Move it behind you. Usually it's not great to keep it in front of you because it's in your visual field. So anywhere from the sides behind you is the best place to start. But everybody's different, so you need to try it and see what works for you. Now the second second technique, which is wonderfully powerful at taking the power out of thoughts, comes from a hypnotherapist in the UK. I think his name is Nick Kemp, so I can't take credit for this. But all of this stuff is based on neurolinguistic programming, essentially, or comes from something along those lines. So this particular technique, we use the same thought, I can't trust them. So first you have to notice what the thought is saying, and then what you do is you simply slow it right down. You put space in between the words. So you repeat that thought in your head at about this speed. I can't trust them. And you notice what happens. You notice what happens as you slow that down. And you can do it even slower than that. So you could space it right out. I can't, and so on and so on. And you really just slow the thought down and put space in between the words. And you notice what that does to the way you feel. Play with these two techniques. They really, really work fantastically. Have fun with this. Play with it. Feel free to message me and let me know how it works for you. I utilize all of this sort of stuff when I work with people. But the most important thing, as I mentioned at the start, is resolving the stuff from the past. Otherwise, these thoughts are going to keep coming up and you just have to keep managing them moving forward. And they can and often do get worse. So if you'd like to contact me, feel free to do so. I'll put a link in at the bottom of this video for anyone who's interested. I offer a free strategy call where we can discuss how I can customize my program to suit you, to be able to resolve the past, to change how you feel now, to build your trust, your confidence, to get more happiness in your life, all of that sort of wonderful stuff. So we really take that time. It's a 45-minute call where I get to know you and what you want and how you want to be different, and we will customize it to you. So that link will be in the with this video, so feel free for anyone interested to click on that and go through that form. For anyone else that might find these techniques useful, please feel free to share them. Like, comment, ask questions. But if you do know someone that could benefit from these, please feel free to share this video. And yeah, like I said, if you have any questions, please just ask. Bye for now.